Hey y'all, give me a screen Pantera. Okay, let me see here. What I got in my file to save. Pantera, I am going to play that one that you put in the chat. I got that in my file actually that I wanted to. Where's that at? Library. First, I'm going to play Kevin Federline's when he came out with, what was it, 2020 or whatever. Barbara Walters was it? I don't know who it was. I can't remember. We're going to watch it though. Then after that, we're going to watch the one of Jaden, Brittney's son, when he spoke out.
As supremely talented as she is, Britney Spears is also terribly tormented. Success has cursed the pop princess as much as it's rewarded her. In 2008, the pressure of fame became too much. Britney unraveled so spectacularly, she was placed under the control of what's called a conservatorship. It meant she wasn't allowed to make any decisions for herself. Last November, 13 years on, the strict legal order was overturned. But now, as she tries to reclaim her life, she faces more scrutiny. Tonight, in a controversial interview, Britney's ex-husband, Kevin Federline, the father of her two sons, has agreed to talk after years of silence. A picture of domesticity in what seems like a very normal, middle-class home in Los Angeles. The dishes are being done, the dog's being fed, and the kids are playing outside. Like many other families, this brood is a blend of relationships. Except there's something that sets them apart.
Nobody can prepare you for anything like what I've been through. You know, I mean, nobody. But to me, I had a job to do, and that was my kids.
For Kevin Federline, there's no greater joy than being a dad to his 6 children, but it hasn't always been straightforward. You see, he shares the upbringing of 2 of his kids, sons Sean Preston and Jaden, with their mother, his ex-wife, Brittney Spears. To make their lives as normal as possible, 15 years ago, he decided to dim the spotlight.
What happened to you? You disappeared.
Yeah, I think it was probably the best decision that I've made. And one of the best decisions I've made in my life.
But now, Kevin, or K-Fed as he used to be known, wants to talk to the world. And a few weeks ago, he invited celebrity interviewer Daphne Barak into his home. He said it was time to explain how he and the boys have fared through the ups and downs of Britney's turbulent life.
Keeping my boys safe and making sure that they have a relationship with their mother and the rest of the family, that's what my role has specifically been in, you know, for me, for myself. Like, I can wake up every day and live with myself knowing that that is what I've been trying to do for the last 15 years.
These days, Sean Preston is 16, Jaden is 15, and Kevin Federline's life is a long way from the circus it was when he first met and fell in love with Britney.
I needed some companionship, and for some reason, I couldn't get this guy out of my head that I'd met.
Back in 2004, she was already one of the most famous women on the planet. The guy she couldn't get out of her head was a little-known backup dancer. It was impossible to tell who was the more smitten.
I've never really liked anybody. I'm very picky and very weird. It was cute. And he's cute, and he's older, and he's nice, and he's a really, really good kisser.
We were inseparable from that time. From the time we met, it was different. You know, everything was just, it was amazing. It really was. It was this relationship it was really, you know, we listened to each other, we talked to each other, we tell jokes to each other, we did all the things that, you know, you do in a new relationship, but it was magnified by 100. So it was really different. Until it wasn't.
I want to introduce you guys to my friend Kevin. He wants to leave, he just got here.
There were complications though. Kevin was a love rat who already had a fiance, a son Caleb, and another child on the way. But Brittney flew him over to London to join her European tour, and, well, that was that.
Hi! Kevin, we have to ask you a question.
Oh God, here we go.
How do you feel about marriage and commitment?
I feel that.
But not everyone was in love with this love match. Many saw Kevin as little more than a party boy gold digger.
All of the discrimination towards me when me and Brittney got together and all this stuff, you know, there were so many things out there. I was never good enough, and oh, you're this, you're that poor white trash loser, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, I was built to be able to take that because it didn't bother me at all.
The paparazzi didn't leave either of them alone for a minute. It meant their wedding had to be a top secret surprise, even for the guests.
They all thought they were going there for our engagement party.
It was really, really sweet and very nice.
Newly hitched, the couple wasted no time starting their family. Sean Preston arrived a year later and Jaden a year after that. But by then, the fairy tale was showing signs of fracturing. Even so, Kevin says he was completely shocked when in 2006, Brittney filed for divorce.
Just found out I was getting divorced. I called my lawyer, he met me in Chicago, and we sat down, and the only thing that I told him that all I care about is getting 50% custody of my sons. You know, I can't, I don't, nothing else mattered to me. Nothing. You know, you can't, I'm not the person that will take money over family.
What followed was an at times tough battle between Brittney and Kevin for the boys. It coincided with the difficulty Brittney was having coping with the pressure of pop stardom. Sadly, her breakdown played out in front of the world.
I was mortified for her. I really was, for a long time. Way past the time that people were watching. It's been years. I still feel bad for her. You know, I mean, it's hard. It's
had barricaded herself inside the room at one point.
She was rushed to the hospital overnight.
She was wheeled out brought here to Cedars-Sinai Hospital in distress.
In 2008, Brittney's father, Jamie Spears, stepped in to take drastic action, placing her under a conservatorship. The strict legal order meant he controlled everything, her money, who she talked to, and even what she ate. Rather than pick one side, Kevin says he supported both his ex-wife and her family. It's a diplomacy he's maintained with his sons.
How did you explain to your kids what is a conservatorship? Why is mom not being able to make her own decisions?
They've had a lot of questions about it. I don't know that I can answer all of them for them, you know, but I just try to explain to them that your mom needed help, you know, and the people were in play to try to make that happen, to make it better.
For Sean Preston and Jaden, their very famous mum's very infamous conservatorship added to the confusion of being brought up as the children of divorced parents. Even today, Jaden believes his grandfather, Jamie Spears, only had good intentions for his daughter.
At first, I mean, everyone was mostly hating him for the conservatorship, right? But I think at first he was just trying to be like any father, like pursue her daughter's dream of like being a superstar and working and going and all these concerts and performing. But I think some people are just like ceasing to realize how much he cares about her.
Kevin Federline, who saw Brittney at her troubled worst, agrees his ex-father-in-law was doing his best at a very tough time.
Just because they're not my immediate family, you know, they're my kids' immediate family. You know, that's their grandfather and their grandmother and their uncle. I feel that it's very important that they have relationships with all of them, regardless of what happens. I wasn't involved in any of it, so I really don't know how the conservatorship came about. I don't know whose decision it was. I don't know. All I know is that you have a family that is worried about their daughter and trying.
You know, I feel like K-Fed there works for somebody like that's associated with Brittney. I don't know. I'm worried about her. Like right now, she's not been the same. Even after the conservatorship, she didn't. She's still. We're gonna watch a video about her social media too.
To do whatever they can to help her. That's all. That's all that I knew. The boys, my kids, my family, and that was it. I had to worry about them. I couldn't get involved in all of the other stuff because it's just, I don't feel like it would be fair to Brittney. I don't feel like it would have been fair to my sons. I have no part in any of that.
So you feel Jamie might have saved his daughter?
100%, I feel like he saved her back then.
But as you'll see, that's certainly not what Brittney thinks.
Honestly, still to this day, don't know what really I did, but the punishment of my father, I wasn't able to see anyone or like anything. And you have to imagine none of it made sense to me.
For 13 years, Brittney Spears was not allowed to make any decisions for herself. But with the support of her fans, who organised a global campaign known as the Free Brittney Movement, she fought to overturn the conservatorship that had controlled her life. Last November, she won.
It's official. The conservatorship of Brittney Spears has been terminated.
Despite her victory, though, it's clear the pop star hasn't forgiven her family. Last week, Brittney released an audio recording that did not hold back.
My heart would just want to stand up in my family's faces and scream and cry and throw a tantrum and go back in time and do exactly what I wanted to do at those times. Yeah, and might even spit in their fucking faces. Why? Because the pain my family gave me, sitting me there all day and not being able to use my feet, as they watch their grandchildren run bases to base in a family neighborhood, as if I'm dead or I don't exist, honestly makes me look up and say, how the fuck did they get away with it?
Brittney's former husband, Kevin Federline, says he understands Brittney's anger, but he also wants her to know sons Sean Preston and Jaden were thrilled when their mother's conservatorship was overturned.
Both of them were happy for her, you know, because it's not always about what's right. It's about, this is what mom wanted, you know, mom got it.
40 years old and free at last, Brittney had a lot of life to catch up on. Top of her to-do list was marrying longtime boyfriend Sam Asghari. 3 months ago, they celebrated at a celebrity-studded event. But the wedding revealed just how broken this family really is. None of Brittney's closest relatives were there, not even her 2 sons. The youngest, 15-year-old Jaden, says the reason is simple.
I'm really happy for them, but like, I mean, she didn't invite her whole family, and then if it was just gonna be me and Preston, like, I just don't see how that situation would have like ended on, you know, good terms.
The end of the conservatorship and Brittney's efforts to reclaim her life have inevitably led to questions about her taking more control of her relationship with her sons. She used to share the boys 50-50 with Kevin, but a few years ago, their co-parenting hit trouble. Kevin says it was because Sean Preston and Jaden weren't always happy living at their mum's home. In 2019, a court awarded Kevin 70% custody, and the boys moved in with him full-time.
Yeah, so the boys have decided that, you know, they're not seeing her right now. It's been a few months since they've actually even seen her.
Not only did Brittney not like the boys' decision, she hated Kevin telling the world. Their bickering led to an undignified social media tit-for-tat between the two that saw Kevin post an embarrassing old video of Brittney fighting with the boys in her home. It's something he still defends doing, even though he quickly took it down.
I've spent the better part of my adult life turning the other cheek in response to attacks on me. when our children are attacked, I found the need to set the record straight to be overwhelming.
It's something he still defends doing. Despite all the recent noise, Jaden and Sean Preston live pretty normal teen lives. And to no one's surprise, they've both inherited a talent for music from their famous mum.
I want to figure out something that I can do in my future so I can pursue something just like she did. And she was super inspirational for me as when I was younger.
Well, both of them are really, really sweet kids. I mean, they're good human beings, which is always a pleasure to have.
But by stepping back into the spotlight, Kevin has infuriated Brittney's army of devoted fans, who include a number of high-profile celebrities.
Only cowards use the media against a famous person who they once loved, they procreated with.
They question why he's chosen to speak with celebrity interviewer Daphne Barak and what he hopes to gain. Given his claims, there's nothing more important than his family's privacy.
I want my sons to have the closest thing to a normal life that they can possibly have, because it'll make them better people.
Uh-huh. Can they have normal life?
I think it's possible. They see me, so they know that if they really want to get away, they know how to get away.
The truth is, when your mother is one of the most famous faces in the world, a normal life is probably too much to expect. But there's no doubt both of Sean Preston and Jaden's parents only want the very best for their boys.
Now, if instead of me, Brittney was sitting here, what would you tell her?
I don't know. It's really, like the toughest, one of the toughest questions. You know, I try to think about that question because there's so many mixed emotion in there. You know, the father in me, the ex-husband, you know, it's hard to like tie it all together because I would want to apologize and then give advice and then ask if there's any way I can help.
Hello, I'm Tom Steinford. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our Extra Minutes segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au, as well as the 9Now app.
Okay, so I woke up this morning and but he's only available certain times of the week and usually once a week. And I think in my head, it's really crucial for me to feel like I can share. And if it's the dumbest thing in the world that I do is share on my Instagram, my thoughts, if it's dumb, so be it, because I honestly feel like it helps me. Like 3 years ago, I used to do AA meetings. I was never able to miss any meetings. Most of the girls would choose their meetings and sometimes they go and sometimes they wouldn't. But the way my dad made it for me, I had to go no matter what. I couldn't miss any meetings and I couldn't even choose the meetings I went to. So it felt forced. So I haven't been back in a really long time. Number one, because when you're forced to do something, it's kind of like, yeah, I used to have my kids at one point way more than Kevin. I mean, people don't remember that part because they always focus on the negative. But from when they were 6 to 9 years old, I had them 70% of the time. And of course, since they've been gone, I've honestly felt like a huge part of me has died. Like literally I have no purpose anymore. They were my joy. They were my everything. I look forward to seeing them. That was what I lived for. And then all of a sudden they were gone. And I was like, did my heart just stop beating? And honestly, I don't understand how it's so easy for them just to cut me off like that. I don't understand it. And so yes, I do basically communication with horses. It's called quarantine therapy. But literally after like 45 minutes, you know, you're talking to a fucking horse. But it honestly is a different reflection. I feel like my reflection with people is not very clear. And I think it's almost like I need to break through a wall or make contact. And I know it's an old story, but the psychological damage and not having real contact in that place in, 8 hours of just like communicating by just sitting in a chair and their big smiles and asking me questions and studying me. It's just like I couldn't come out of my seat and I wanted to get the fuck out of there. I mean, Jesus Christ, how come by law these people can just like do this and make me think. And so yes, I do. Yes, I'm taking each day at a time, but I honestly want to see with clear eyes. I feel like if I just could have came out of my seat and slapped the person in front of me at that place, I would have made some sort of contact. I feel like they ghosted me or made me feel like I wasn't present because I was so scared and fearful of the whole situation. It was like I wanted to do like some sort of break through a wall, and I feel like my family, they cut me off of everything I knew. I did feel like they were trying to kill me. My AA meetings, my kids, my car, getting dressed privately, watching me change daily, the 8 vials of blood, not gallons, but 8 vials of blood weekly, like none of it made sense. And honestly, none of it felt legal. That was the main thing. And with my kids now making the claims that she's not good enough, she wants attention. Yeah, I do want to be heard, and I'm angry, and I kind of subconsciously want to offend people because I've been so fucking offended. But I'm afraid to inform you guys. I'm not willing to see you until I feel valued. I won't be calling your monitor weekly who never did his job of informing me when you guys were coming. They made me the desperate one. You guys waiting 2 days for me to respond on when you guys could see me. And I never said any of this at the time because I was desperate to see you guys and I wanted to see you guys so bad, but honestly, I should have valued myself way more. The last thing I wanted to share, something very odd. I've never shared this before. It was the weirdest thing I'd ever encountered in my life. I actually had 3 MRIs 2 weeks before I was sent to that place. I wasn't complaining about anything. I wasn't sick. I didn't have anything broken. I was just told I had to go. It's not totally fine to make someone do something they don't want to do. I mean, my dad made me do so many things. It was just insane, but I did it. And I was immediately like, why am I going to get an MRI so many times? Because when I was younger, I actually had a cyst on my chest and they did an MRI on it. And I remember the lady, the doctor was a lady and they thought it was cancerous, but it wasn't. I was completely fine. So whenever I hear now the word MRI, I know it's kind of a big deal. The last thing I wanted to share.
I'm back.
It's mostly getting him for the conservatorship, right? But I think some people are just like ceasing to realize how much he cares about her.
Hey guys, so Britney Spears' son Jaden just did an interview where he's sort of defending his mom's conservatorship and people are losing their minds. The interview was conducted at his dad's house, Kevin Federline, and he called the house a safe place, which I thought was interesting.
We both have been through so much pressure in the past that like this is our safe place now to, process all the emotional trauma that we've been through.
So he's clearly very close with his dad, and he's also apparently very close with his granddad, who started the conservatorship. This is what he had to say about Jamie Spears.
At first, I mean, everyone is mostly hating him for the conservatorship, right? But I think at first he was just trying to be like any father, like pursue her daughter's dream of like being a superstar and working and going and all these concerts and performing. But I think some people are just like ceasing to realize how much he cares about her. Maybe the conservatorship did go for a little too long, probably why my mom was very angry about the whole situation, because she felt as if she was working for too long, which I personally think, yeah, she was.
So he's sort of defending his grandfather, but at the same time, I mean, who was the person who was forcing her to work so long? Yeah, you guessed it, Jamie Spears, so it's a little confusing. Then he explained why he didn't go to his mom's wedding to Sam, and it's because Brittney did not invite her parents, and he did not want to create an awkward family dynamic.
I'm really happy for them, but like, I mean, she didn't invite her whole family, and then if it was just going to be me and Preston, like, I just don't see how that situation would have like ended on, good terms.
Then Jaden went a little bit further and he said that his mom should stop posting so much on Instagram for attention.
It's like almost as if she has to post something on Instagram to get attention. This has gone on for years and years and years, and there's a high chance that this is never going to really stop.
Now, on the one hand, I can sort of understand it because Brittney does sometimes post very provocative pictures, and if that was your mom, you probably wouldn't like it either. But on the other hand, Brittney has been basically imprisoned for 13 years, so give her a break. Now, before we go back to the conservatorship parts, I want to show a cute part of the interview. Jaden talks about how he first found out his mom is famous, and he also talks about his love for her playing piano and that he wants to follow in her footsteps because he really does admire her.
There's this TV, and it showed like all the people, and it showed her like singing and dancing like on the stage, right? And when I saw that, I was like, wow, like that is a lot of people. And I kind of came to realization of how famous she was and like what she, like how successful she is as a person. And that kind of inspired me.
That's the big one. Got a young Hans Zimmer right here.
I want to figure out something that I can do in my future so I can pursue something just like she did. And she was super inspirational for me as when I was younger. This, for me, is my therapy, basically.
Okay, so the one thing they didn't ask him on camera is his reaction to the conservatorship ending, but they did ask his father, Kevin Federline, what his two sons' reaction was. And this is what he said.
Both of them were happy for her, you know, because it's not always about what's right. It's about this is what mom wanted, you know, mom got.
So this is probably the most controversial part of the interview because somebody needs to explain to me what's not right about a 40-year-old woman being able to make decisions about her own life and not having her dad control her life. What is not right about that? I mean, they're saying they're happy for her because that's what she wanted, but that it might not be the right decision. How is it not the right decision? How? Even if she has certain issues or whatever, okay, so do millions of other people. Does everybody deserve to be, in a conservatorship? No. Sorry, let's just end it on a high note. Jaden says that he does think he can repair the relationship with his mom.
I 100% think it can be fixed, of course, but I think it's just going to take a lot of time and effort. I really want to see her again.
My final thoughts, I think Jaden really does love his mom, but I do think he's probably very much influenced by his dad because his dad has 70% custody of him. So obviously he spends a lot of time with him and he probably is influenced by him. I'm just saying. Anyways, let me know what you thought of the interview. Do you think Kevin should have let him do the interview? Also, it was hard to find the interview because they sort of split up in two parts. One part was on ITV News and the other one was on 60 Minutes Australia. I have no idea why, but I sort of compiled it in this video. So I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you later. Bye.
Guarantee you this video won't get many views or shares at all. Guarantee many people won't even see the video. Guarantee it'll have only a couple of hundred views. Very calculated. Okay, I can predict it. The thing is that I can predict everything that happens with the entertainment industry. Anyway, before we get into this video, Welcome back or welcome to my channel. I don't know how you got here, but I am so glad you're here. I hope you stick around and smash that subscribe button before the end of this video. And also click the little bell beside subscribe to all. That way you'll be notified whenever YouTube sends out notifications. Please like and share this video. Also comment your thoughts and opinions. I love hearing and reading what all of you have to say about all of these topics. So don't forget to drop a comment below. Now, I do want to point out that the Daily Mail, as well as TMZ, has already been accused of working with Britney Spears' father in the past, as well as the other people employed by Britney Spears. So when people like this work closely with major mainstream media outlets like Daily Mail and TMZ, you need to know that whatever you read, whatever narrative is being pushed by that person's team. Okay? I think it is very important to note that. Britney Spears says it felt like a estranged father, Jamie, was trying to kill her in rant marking 1-year anniversary of the end of her 13-year conservatorship. A few things stood out to me with this headline. Okay? In her rant. Why is it that anybody that is open about their mental health struggles, they're labeled? They are put in a category, if you will. Every one of them. It's they're crazy. They're ranting. They're angry. How about these people that write these headlines do a better job at educating themselves and others about mental illnesses? I mean, because if these people were normal, like the people allegedly normal, like the people writing these articles, then we wouldn't have a freaking illness. It's called an illness for a reason. That is so frustrating to me that these mainstream media outlets, as well as uneducated YouTubers and bloggers, are part of the problem. And let me tell you what I mean by that. It makes people like me just not even want to speak up anymore about our mental illnesses because we're constantly labeled and blamed. Think about it. The people that speak up about their mental struggles, anything that they say after that or do is labeled under, well, they're just crazy. They're ranting. They're explosive, blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's just the way they communicate with an illness. I mean, it's just beyond. But anyway, I'm just being completely honest, completely open. And no, it doesn't help when celebrities come out and talk openly about theirs because then they're labeled and we see it. Look at Britney Spears. Look at how she's drugged for filth and labeled in the media. Still to this day. I mean, did they not realize, the media, what an impact these negative and horrible headlines could have on the person that's struggling mentally? No, they don't care. They don't care. They just want another click and another view. Okay? And I also want to point out another thing that stood out was, did she really rant? Or did her team post it for her on her behalf like they've been doing? Okay, now previously, I was all convinced that the girl might be laying low and writing a book. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. Okay? I'm human. My mind changes. This week, my mind has changed. We'll read this article. Saturday marked the 1-year anniversary of the end of Britney Spears' 13-year conservatorship. I do want to point out also that nobody has spoken about this care plan that had to be put in place for the conservatorship to end. It didn't end. She's not just freed. She's under a care plan with a team of people. The same team of people that was around her during her abuse. While she claimed in court that she was feeling abused in traffic, those same people are around her. Same people. Kate Hudson, still around her. Scammy, her alleged husband, still around her. The same social media team, CrowdSurf, still around her. Her lawyer, Matthew Rosengart, also represents Lou Taylor and TriStar's clients. Yeah, look at their roster and look at his roster. Okay, the fact that, all that right there is public knowledge and nobody is calling the effery out is also an obvious sign to me that her team has people running fan pages and all this other stuff. I'm not blind to the BS, okay? I've got a mouth. God give me a mouth, and I'm going to use it for the greater good. This girl has not spoke out physically since her conservatorship allegedly ended. She has not spoke out. That worries me. And then her sitting there, the post, not her, but the post that they want you to believe it's her. She's not writing none of this shit. She's not writing it, okay? She's not. She don't run her social media. CrowdSurf Cassie Petrie, whatever, all running her social media. She is not running her social media at all. I mean, there is no celebrity at her level of fame and status that runs their social media. Show me one that does. These celebrities will tell you themselves, no, we don't run our social media. Adele even told you she said she got to post one time and then her team took back her password and took back her ability to even post herself on her social media. Adele, who was not under a conservatorship or care plan. Adele. If Adele ain't got access to her social media, you want me to believe Britney Spears does? You got to be crazy if you think I believe that. I mean, I'm just putting it all the way out there. And another thing I want to point out, most importantly, why is her team? Why aren't they mentioning TriStar and Lou Taylor, Robin Greenhill, Jody Montgomery? Brittney specifically mentioned those people in her testimony. You notice? You don't think it's kind of ironic that you haven't heard about TriStar, Lou Taylor, Robin Greenhill, Jody Montgomery? You haven't heard Kate Hudson. You haven't heard about none of them in a negative way. All you hear about is her family because that's an easy target. It's an easy blame. And it's not her doing it. It's her team doing it. That is what I believe. And I am talking like this because I will still have 1,000 comments saying, well, she's free. She's posting this. No, she's not. She's not posting this. See how easy it is for me to say that, like it is for you to say that? You're not going to convince me. You know who will convince me? If she even opened her phone and posted a live and said, hey, guys, twirl around, post. Why can't she post a video live? Why can't she twirl around live? Huh? You ain't never asked yourself that? See, if you ain't got answers to simple effing questions, like why ain't she posting live? Why ain't she speaking directly to her fans like she does in her testimonies? I mean, it makes no sense. The only thing that makes sense is she's not running her social media. Her team is trying to push a narrative that she's crazy and unhinged. And I guess it's working because her comments is full of, I don't know why or how people still believe that she's running it, but whatever. I mean, you can't convince people of the obvious. Some people are just blind to the BS. I want to reach out and shake some people so bad when I'm like, do you not see the obvious? I mean, it's... To me, it's obvious, and it's exhausting trying to be like, hello, when people reach out to me like, what do you think? Well, hell, I've said what I thought, and my thoughts have been the exact same for the past year. I don't believe she's running her social media. Yeah, it's changed one time because I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Be like, well, maybe she's just living her best life. Maybe she's trying to be private. Okay? Maybe she's writing a book. But then I'm like, wake up, girl. I mean, good Lord. I mean, it's just beyond. But anyway, we'll continue to humor her team because they ain't humoring me. I mean, I'm not even repeating what they wrote because I don't believe she wrote that. Like, I just don't. You cannot convince me of that. You just can't. Brittney's team pointed out how she was forced to work 7 days a week, headlining her $137.7 million grossing Piece of Me residency in Las Vegas from 2013 to 2017, immediately followed by a 31-date Piece of Me tour in 2018. I also want to point out this obvious. If she's that cuckoo crazy and unhinged, her ass wouldn't have been able to work 7 days a week making this much money, would she? She wouldn't even be able to stand on her own, okay? Much less perform 7 days a week. So while all of you are out there, the ones that are out there, okay? The one I say all of you, I'm talking about the hatefulness, the hateful people out there, okay? For all the people out there saying, oh, she's crazy. She's free. She just posting this crazy stuff. She just unhinged. Could your crazy ass work 7 days a week like she did, pulling $137.7 million? Huh? A residency in Las Vegas for 4 years? 4 years? Could you do that? Huh. I guess only a crazy person could, huh? Ain't nobody got no answers to that either. I have the hours I worked on schedule, 7 days a week, labor laws, road spares. I have proof of it. She didn't write that. Unless I seen her physically writing it. She didn't write it. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, I sure did. Note it, check it, record it, screenshot it, screen record it. I don't care what you do. Okay, pause it, rewind, whatever. I said it. I said what I said. Okay? I have proof of all of it. Spoke about in live in court during COVID, June 23rd, 2021. Nope, it's not a big deal. I mean, my mom, Lynn, laughed and said, I'm so happy the judge didn't stand you up for 3 hours in your room this time, then cancel on you like she did last time. The Hold Me Closer hitmaker aims to end the system she was forced to be in hopes that those involved don't get to walk away like they did nothing. Okay, well, once again, I don't see her mentioning TriStar, but I'm not reading the whole garbage or BS that the team is pushing, but I'm pretty sure. See, just right here. She kept on her dad, her mom, her dad. Where's TriStar and Lou Taylor? Mention it all. She does in the testimony, yet on her social media, it's never mentioned. You don't think that's ironic? Come on now, connect the dots. Connect the dots. I mean, it's beyond. I truly believe anyone going through that situation would have never made it. If I was valued and respected, then my father would be locked up in 2 seconds. Why not? See, her team is not mentioning Lou Taylor or TriStar. They're not mentioning anybody in the industry. They're mentioning basic everyday people. You don't think that's weird? Because I do. I do. If her daddy living in a camper right now in Louisiana, I doubt her daddy's got any damn money. Okay? I'm going to state that obvious. How about you look into those people, her ex-manager that's living in a multi-million-dollar mansion, okay? How about you look at that one that's sitting next to her right now, Kate Hudson? How about you look at her alleged husband that ain't doing nothing but promoting his own damn failed career in America? Yeah. Don't even try me. These folks right here, they try me. Brittney's team tries me. They really do. Brittney, girl. I hope you see the effery that's around you. I'm just saying. And I will point out this too. Do not promote anybody else's channel under the comments, okay? Because I also believe that her team has employed a few creators to run a narrative. I absolutely believe it. Don't promote those people on my channel. I got an issue with it, okay? I've said it from the get-go. I know how hard it is to have a come-up on this platform, okay? I know how hard it is. I know how hard you got to work. I know the consistency. I know the time that goes into it. When I see a regular, schmegular, everyday Joe just make an account last year, it ain't even been a year, and he's already got well more followers and subscribers than I do, less content, way more views. I'm going to tell you something. There's a reason behind it. There's a narrative being pushed, and it's going to continue to be pushed. Those people are promoted, and it's obvious. I mean, from the looks of my comment section, because they get promoted on various platforms. They get shared by her quote-unquote fan pages, the ones that are also pushing the narrative, the ones that also don't promote the other creators like me who are not employed with the damn team. I'm telling you right now, you got to pay attention. You got to pay attention. I guess that's part of my little mental illness side effect. I pay attention to everything, okay? Everything. I notice the effery. I notice the hypocrisies. I notice contradictions. I notice no hard work being put in. It's obvious to me. But anyway, I guess rant over. She's ranting. Whatever. I mean, whatever. At this point, I'm like, say what you want, because I know me and my truth. And I know that my passion will speak for itself. My work will speak for itself, okay? And this right here, her alleged lawyer, look into his roster. Look into his clients, okay? Ben Affleck is one of his top clients. Guess who represents Ben Affleck and his wife? Oh, is it TriStar? Is it Lou Taylor? Lou Taylor represents J-Lo. Yep. I'm telling you. The connections between this lawyer of Brittney's now and TriStar and Lou Taylor explains to me and confirms why we're not hearing TriStar and Lou Taylor more in the court documents. Why aren't they being held accountable? I guarantee they won't be held accountable. I guarantee you it'll be done. You won't hear about them. You're only going to hear about her daddy and her mama and her sister. You know why? Because that's the team. Think about it. Think about it. Please don't be fooled by these damn idiots. When I say idiots, I mean the people in the industry, because in my opinion, they're idiots. They really are. They do. They play too many games. Like y'all in school. When I say y'all, I'm talking about the people in the industry. They play way too many games like they're still in school. I've never understood that. That's like with TV, with reality TV. Reality TV, a lot of the networks think they got to script people's lives and script fake storylines. I think people are interesting and have a lot of drama going on every single day. Use people's real lives. You ain't got to script stuff in. Just talk about the realness. Be real. But no, we got to lie. We got to make up drama. We got to make up headlines. It's just a lot. It's a lot, okay? And that's my stance on that. Woo, wait, that's a lot. I know. Rant over. Hashtag rant. Hashtag backwards Barbie is ranting again. Oh, me. It's Monday, okay? Just another manic Monday. Woo!
From Kentwood, Louisiana, here is 10-year-old Brittney Spears.
Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? When we stand together, it's our unstoppable. We can do anything, oh anything. Keep believing in the
People can take everything away from you, but they can never take away your truth. But the question is, can you handle it? Can you handle my truth? I don't know.
Brittney Spears is not in control of her own life. Over the past few months, hundreds of articles, clickbait stories, and TikToks have detailed the horrible tragedy that is Brittney's conservatorship, many painting it as a conspiracy theory, and others coming up with complex conspiracies of their own. But in this 3-part series, we are aiming to clarify and explain what is actually going on with one of the most beloved pop stars on the planet, and detail the horrific abuse Brittney has faced not only at the hands of the media, but the people closest to her as well, people she trusted. So to begin, let's go back to where it all started, Kentwood, Louisiana.
James, aka Jamie Spears, and Lynn Spears married in July of 1976. Little did the struggling small-town newlyweds know they would eventually give birth to an international phenomenon that would change our entire culture forever. Jamie was a building contractor, and Lynn would take care of Brian Spears, their firstborn. They were like many Americans living paycheck to paycheck, just trying to get by. But even before Brittney was born, Jamie and Lynn's marriage always seemed to be in a toxic and unhealthy place. Living in a town as small as Kentwood, Louisiana, gossip makes its way around the town quickly. And on Christmas Day, 1979, Jamie was allegedly spotted at a local Kentwood bar cozying up to another woman. Just 1 week later, on January 2nd, 1980, Lynn Spears would file for divorce, alleging he committed adultery that night. She would also request a restraining order, worried that Jamie's reaction to the divorce could end up in harassment or even physical harm, especially if Jamie had been drinking. Lynn did end up withdrawing the divorce paperwork in March of 1980. However, Jamie's drinking would continue to escalate, and this would not be the first restraining order requested against Jamie Spears in his lifetime. On December 2nd, 1981, a pop star emerged from the womb, and her name was Brittney Jean Spears. Born in Macomb, Mississippi, just 30 minutes away from Kentwood, Louisiana.
Welcome to my hometown of Kentwood, Louisiana. It's a small town about an hour north of New Orleans. I feel the need for speed! Where I come from is country, and when I get back home, I start talking country again. Stuff like yonder and hey y'all, or what y'all doing, stuff like that. This is my great-grandmother. Everybody calls her Granny, and you haven't tasted any seafood until you taste hers. I work the cash register and clean the tables and help the customers. I really love living in Louisiana. The people here are so nice. They treat you like family and make you feel right at home.
Kentwood is a tiny town with a population of 2,122 and a median household income that is half of the national average. This means that many are at or below the poverty line, and Lynn and Jamie Spears were no exception. Jamie's continued drinking would make it difficult for him to hold down jobs and support the family. Times would get so rough, the fridge would be empty, and Jamie would have to hunt in his backyard for small animals in order to feed the kids. It is now 1984, and Brittney was just 3 years old when Lynn Spears saw star potential in her daughter. Lynn did not want to waste any time preparing Brittney to be a performer, so she put her then toddler in voice and dancing lessons. This would be just the beginning of the stage mom years.
I think the biggest regrets that I have right now, by looking back, I didn't follow my mother's intuition a lot of times, or my gut instincts. I would let people talk me into things, or, influence me, and I was right. My initial gut instinct was always right on. And sometimes I didn't follow it. I have to laugh when I hear people call me stage mom, because right now I can see one of my students that I taught. He's now an English professor in a small community college. I'm a teacher at heart. The stage mom was not my choice. And I never was.
Many believe Lynn saw Brittney's potential as her out from a toxic marriage and a life filled with financial struggles. However, the financial hardships and home life would only get worse as they tried to make Brittney a star. Brittney was a busy child. Aside from ballet, jazz, gymnastics, and voice lessons, she would also sing in her church's choir, compete in children's talent shows, join dance competitions, compete at the state level for gymnastics, sing on local television, and even did a short run of beauty pageants where she of course won the talent portion. Having Brittney in all of these activities and competitions was really expensive.
Money was sometimes tight. It was not unheard of for them to wear hand-me-down clothes. It's kind of one of those things where you know it, you just don't talk about it.
Sending children to private school can get expensive for anyone.
It was really hard on them putting her through, dance lessons and singing lessons and going to an academy like that.
There's tuition, there's registration, there are books, there are assessment fees. I would imagine having 3, it would be expensive to do.
This would only further the financial struggles for the Spears family and inevitably strain Lynn and Jamie's marriage even more. William Spears, brother of Jamie Spears, recalls when Brittney was no older than 5 years old, Jamie Spears tried to drive off drunk with Brittney in the car. William stopped him and they had a physical altercation in front of Brittney, who was screaming scared. William also remembered a time when they were all in the kitchen. Lynn was just drinking a glass of water and Jamie walked in drunk, insulted Lynn, grabbed her glass of water, hurled it across the room, shattering it. Brittney was regularly witness to these drunken violent episodes and her parents regularly screaming at each other. Brittney's Aunt Sandra was a safe place for her and they were really close. Many times when her parents would scream and yell, she would run over to her aunt's house to escape what was a very toxic, unhealthy home. Even throughout her career, she would find ways to thank her Aunt Sandra.
My beautiful, sweet family, they're just instilling in me the love of music, just teaching me diligence, perseverance, and always sacrifice no matter what the cost. I love you. And I want to thank the Lord for just proving to me I can do anything through him who gives me strength. And I truly believe if you follow your heart, and most importantly, God, your dreams will come true. And these are for you, Aunt Sandra.
Another escape from home for Brittney and Lynn would be performing. So in 1990, Lynn took Brittney all the way to Atlanta, Georgia to audition for a spot on the Disney Channel's The Mickey Mouse Club. Brittney was just 8 years old at the time, but she made it all the way to the final 6. However, she was told to come back when she was 10. Casting director Matt Casella knew Brittney was incredible, so he introduced her to Nancy Carson, a New York talent agent. Nancy got Lynn to enroll Brittney in the Professional Performing Arts School. Now we're in 1992, which was a huge year for Brittney Spears because she debuted on the TV show Star Search. She did an incredible job, but she didn't end up winning. Even though a young Brittney was rejected on live TV, this did not discourage her. In fact, it motivated her. Then talent agent Nancy Carson would get Brittney Spears an understudy role along with Natalie Portman on the off-Broadway play Ruthless. Brittney, her baby sister Jamie, and Lynn would temporarily move to a very tiny New York apartment. But Brittney, she was young and she was working really long hours.
It was every night and it was just like so monotonous. It was just but then I kind of got tired and I was gonna have to perform on Christmas night, and I was getting really upset because I wanted Santa Claus. I wanted to be home with my family, and I think I was like 11 years old, and so I told my mom, because she always told me, whenever you want to pack up and just go home, let's do it. So I was like, you know what? I got to go home. I got to go home and be with my family again, because I totally missed it. So we packed up and everything. But the day before we left to audition again for the Mickey Mouse Club, they had another, audition for it. It was like, this is like 2 years later. And that's when I got it. So I got to go home and experience Christmas.
The Mickey Mouse Club was truly Brittney's big break at just age 11. It was filmed at MGM Studios in California. So Brittney would live in California 6 months out of the year to film the show, and was working a full 9 to 6, which are pretty long hours for a child. She filmed for 2 years alongside Justin Timberlake, Ryan Gosling, Christina Aguilera, just to name a few. According to Mental Floss, the Mickey Mouse Club contracts were exploitative, as the children would make $185 a week, which comes out to under $5 an hour with the kids working full day. After they wrapped up filming in 1994, Brittney would return home to be a typical kid for the first time in her life. Brittney's parents at this point were really struggling. With the Mickey Mouse contracts not being that great, they'd gotten into serious debt trying to make Brittney a star. There were judgments against them to seize their property and sell it to collect debt and federal tax liens. At this point, the Spears family was going bankrupt. 1995 is the only year in Brittney Spears' childhood where she seemed to live a somewhat normal teenage life. It was 9th grade and she was going to a typical high school, getting elected for homecoming court, and was dating the star football player Reg Jones. Reg and Brittney went to prom that year, the first and only prom Brittney would ever go to. But this year of normalcy would quickly come to an end.
We want to thank Opinion Outpost for sponsoring this video
and allowing us to devote over an entire month to this project alone.
This project is super important to us, and Opinion Outpost support means everything. Have you ever wanted to earn incentives for sharing your opinion?
Check out Opinion Outpost.
You can take surveys and earn real money right to your PayPal.
It's super easy and risk-free.
You can share your opinions while hanging out at home
and binge watching Deep Dive.
Check out the link below to get started. You'll be earning your daily coffee in no time. After the success of the Spice Girls in the UK, the late 1990s saw a surge of interest in girl groups. Record labels in the United States were looking to capitalize off of their success and form girl groups of their own, and every label wanted the next Spice Girls, and they were going to get their way. Brittney was even in talks with Lou Pearlman to join the female pop group Innocence. However, Larry Rudolph, then entertainment lawyer who Brittney had met when she was 13 through Justin Timberlake, had a different idea. Larry wanted to pitch her to record labels as a solo artist. So Brittney recorded a demo and flew to New York all by herself for one day to sing for various labels. Most turned her down as they were all looking for pop groups, but Jive Records thought Brittney had just the commercial appeal they were looking for. And on August 4th, 1997, Brittney changed the world forever and signed a recording contract with Jive. There are tons of theories across the internet about how they worked to change Brittney's voice before recording her albums, the iconic Britney Spears baby voice we all know today. Brittney loved Whitney Houston and sang in a deeper voice in her earlier days. But they needed a pop icon, and Brittney would be just the one to deliver that either way. And just like that, Brittney was off to Sweden to record part of her first album with Swedish songwriter and producer Max Martin. On October 23rd, when Brittney was 16, Baby One More Time was released as her debut single and would become one of the best-selling singles ever released, launching a small-town Brittney into an international pop star, thus kicking off the 21st century pop renaissance. On January 12th, 1999, Brittney took the pop music scene by storm and released her debut album, Baby One More Time. It reached #1 in 15 countries, becoming the best-selling debut album of any artist to date. This was huge. In just a few short months, Britney Spears was a household name. She was winning awards, opening for NSYNC, and touring across malls in America. You could not turn on your TV in 1999 without seeing the 17-year-old pop sensation Britney Spears.
Female vocalist or female artist of the year would be. And the choice female artist is. And the choice female artist is.
And the winner is.
Britney Spears. Britney Spears.
Britney Spears.
Britney Spears.
What came along with this newfound stardom was Britney being turned into a teenage symbol. They would often ask teenage Britney really invasive questions.
It's classic Britney, as a magazine said, a kind of puzzle under all those shifting images, playing innocent, and then playing the shock for all it's worth.
We look at you like you're a little girl. No. We look at you like you're a big skank. But nice of her to try and break free of her kitty pop image and show she's an independent woman by becoming a toy for a group of sweaty guys. I am woman. Hear me, whore.
I would like you to talk to the young kids and tell them Britney Spears should be grounded for wearing that. Did you see what you're an adult woman. You're a grown-up. Britney Spears is 18. She's like, takes 2 Band-Aids and she's singing there. I don't appreciate that.
She's a nice girl.
She's very nice, but the trampy outfits have to go.
But it's got to be hard to hear the criticism. And I know, Lynn, as a mom, you've been criticized too. You know, like, why do you let her go out looking like that sometimes? How have you dealt with it? And what advice have you given Britney about her appearance?
Well, and what people don't understand is that Britney doesn't go out looking like that. I mean, when she goes to some party, or if it's the Grammy Award or whatever, that's where you dress up. Being a girl, that's a costume. That is glamour.
Then I sit and think, okay, what does a 15-year-old girl think about this? Do you have a greater concern for the social setup when you make your videos? Do you say, you know what, I don't want to be represented in this particular manner?
I'm the one that they're like, take that off. So we need to put you in something a little bit more appropriate. Not that I'm like scandalous or anything. No, but sometimes they try to, dress me. Probably.
Now that you're 19, is there part of you that just want to say, why is it wrong?
Everybody's gonna have opinion, and you can't please everybody. But I mean, as long as you're comfortable, let's say wear what you want to wear. You know what I mean? That's all in how you carry yourself and how you live, and that's what it boils down to.
The wife of the governor of Maryland, who appeared at an anti-violence rally, and well, listen to what she said.
Really, if I had an opportunity to shoot Britney Spears, I think I would.
Oh, that's horrible. That's really bad.
Because of the example for kids and how hard it is to be a parent and keep all of this away from your kids.
I mean, I can't help that. And if the parents don't like them to see it, then change the channel. So, sorry.
Her life was regularly questioned, and that's when Britney said she was saving sex for marriage.
Do you wish you'd never said anything about the virginity thing because it's going to follow you to wedding night?
I kind of wish, I kind of do, because when I go overseas, they'll ask you questions about it, and it's just something that's there, and you can't help it.
Which then the media became obsessed with Britney and her virginity.
I'm just wondering how you feel about all the constant speculation about your virginity and whether you are a virgin or not.
I really wish I would have never said anything to begin with, because I'm kind of stuck in this little place where people are always asking me. But, that's just something that's part of growing up, and that's just something that we all have to deal with. So,
have there been any changes on that front?
That's a personal question.
This is you talking about Britney. Would you walk around the street in an effing bra? She's not being herself up there because she's dancing like a hoe. Is she a hoe? She says she's a virgin. It's just not clicking. End quote. Avril Lavigne on Britney Spears.
There's one subject we didn't discuss. What was that? Everyone's talking about it. Well, your breasts.
My breasts.
You seem to get furious when a talk show host comes up with this subject. Okay, in general, what do you think about breast implants? Just in general.
Well, I think if that's what you want to do and that would make you happy, then I see nothing wrong with it. But I haven't done that. But I think it's sad that people, think I've done that because that makes them want to go out. And, some of the fans that look up to me, they either think bad of me or they may want to go out and do that. But that's not my fault because the press started that.
Amongst all these disgusting questions and uncomfortable interviews, one of the most iconic relationships to date formed. Britney Spears started dating teen heartthrob Justin Timberlake. They became pop royalty and the it couple that the media could not stop talking about. And in 2000, Britney kept that momentum going. In May of that year, she released Oops, I Did It Again. This album was another huge hit and her second best-selling album to date. In the 2000s, Britney also began forming her pop star image. She would often push the envelope, much like Madonna in the 80s and 90s, but she was taking it even further. For example, at the 2000 VMAs, Britney performed Oops, I Did It Again, and at the time it was considered extremely controversial because of her nude-colored outfit and dancing. Almost everything Britney did at the time was considered a scandal. In the following year, Britney released the album Brittney in October 2001. With songs like Slave for You and I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman had the media already talking. But then Britney performed the 2001 VMAs with probably the most iconic performance ever. She started off in a cage with one of Doc Antle's tigers and would proceed to put a giant yellow snake around her neck. That image of Britney with the snake around her neck has been one of Britney's most iconic moments. And the next 2 years were just as eventful for Britney. A now 21-year-old Britney was working on her next album, and her movie Crossroads premiered. 2002 was a difficult year for Britney because the good girl image from her teen years was still so heavily pushed onto her into adulthood. She was constantly criticized for being too sexual, having to be this perfect role model for millions of kids around the globe. Britney's aunt was also diagnosed with cancer. And in 2002, the pop culture defining relationship between Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake had just as big of a fall when Britney and Justin went through a very, very public breakup. And Justin was not shy about airing relationship details. He also alluded to sleeping with Britney on Hot 97 FM when promoting his album, as the media was still weirdly obsessed with knowing if the world's pop princess had been sexually active. Justin took it further and hired a Britney lookalike for his song about their breakup, Cry Me a River. And this is where you see the shift against Britney Spears in the media start to begin. Britney was trying to shake the teenage image, and the media started to paint her as the villain in every aspect of her life. Then, the 2003 infamous VMA performance happened. Britney and Madonna kissed on stage, and the world went wild. And in 2003, on public television, this was considered shocking, and the media treated it as this huge deal.
Madonna was great, kissing Britney. Like, where's my kiss? Yeah, it was unbelievable. I didn't know what to think. It just kind of happened right in front of you, and it was just, you had to take it in.
Come here! Madonna and Brittney.
No!
Are you one of those straight guys who fantasizes about two women together? And is that too personal of a question?
Yes and yes.
Every straight male has that fantasy.
Which it was pretty iconic to see Britney and Madonna kiss. However, the media took this way too far and tried to paint Britney as the villain even further by saying she's a horrible role model. One public official even got in trouble for saying that Britney Spears should be shot for kissing Madonna on TV. Around this time, Britney also released her fourth studio album, In the Zone. With hits like Breathe on Me and Toxic, this proved to be one of Britney's most iconic and successful eras to date. Everything Britney touched was gold. Anything she did was so talked about that she, as an entertainer, changed the pop music and entertainment industry forever. With iconic music videos like Toxic and performances to follow them up, Britney Spears was the name on everyone's lips in the early 2000s. Unfortunately, around this time, photos of Britney doing normal things for her age, like smoking and drinking, started to make the rounds in the media, saying that Britney was a terrible role model and that people should stop supporting her. The harassment by the media was getting out of hand, but no one, especially not Britney, was ready for what was about to come.
2004 marks a major shift in Britney's life. She clearly had enough of the control behind the scenes and the media's portrayal of her. It is January 1st, and Britney is spotted dancing the night away at Rain Las Vegas with Jason Alexander, a childhood friend from Kentwood, Louisiana. Jason and Britney are having such an amazing time in Vegas partying that in the early hours of January 3rd, they have an idea to do something wild and crazy. Britney and Jason hop into a lime green limousine and head down to the Clark County Courthouse to get a wedding license. Then at around 5 a.m., they arrive at a little white wedding chapel, famous for quick middle-of-the-night weddings. In just minutes, Jason and Britney laughed and cried their way through the infamous wedding ceremony. When Larry Rudolph and Lynn Spears learned of Britney's marriage, they went into a panic and damage control mode set in. Larry went to George Maloof, owner of the Palms, for help getting an attorney to annul the marriage immediately.
After the quickie Las Vegas wedding, the poop hit the fan. Lynn went insane. They sent like an army of lawyers pouring into Vegas.
We just received a decree of annulment. There is no marriage now. We're both very happy that they've made the decision that they made to annul the marriage.
And at 4:30 p.m., Britney and Jason signed the annulment papers. According to George Maloof, they were tickled pink and gleeful when signing on the dotted line that would end the famous 55-hour marriage.
By marrying Jason, Britney may have been seeking revenge on the advisors who sold her as an untouchable virgin. And somewhere deep inside, on the mother who agreed to market her as a baby-faced sex bomb.
When you look at Brittney, what has her life been like? She's been managed. She's been managed by her mother, managed by managers, managed by the media. And so here she has a moment of freedom and a moment of self-choice. And she goes, you guys can't control who I am. You can't control what I do. I can do whatever I want.
2004 would continue to be a year of rebellion. Brittney was working on her 4th studio album that never saw the light of day. All we know of what was probably going to be one of the best pop albums of all time is what Brittney herself leaked without her team's knowledge.
How soon? 5 years? Would you like to have a guy?
That would be the ultimate dream.
Yeah.
That would be great.
Are you thinking you'll wait till you're 30?
I don't want to wait till 40. No. I would love to have a family. That would be when I'm the most content. My kids and just, they become your life. It's not all about you anymore, and you have a focus that's so beautiful.
She then locked eyes with Kevin Federline, who was previously a backup dancer for NSYNC at a Hollywood club. Kevin said it was love at first sight. And just like that, their whirlwind romance would begin. Kevin, however, was currently engaged to Shar Jackson, and they had their second baby on the way. The tabloids would explode with images of Kevin and Brittney together, and Brittney was being branded a homewrecker. But Brittney didn't care. She was determined to live her life without the opinions of others influencing her. Just weeks after meeting, Brittney invited Kevin to come with her on her European tour in London. During the tour, they would become the first vlog couple as they captured their romance and would later turn the footage into their own reality show called Chaotic. On the flight back, something big would happen.
How did he propose? Can I ask that, or is that too much? It might be a no.
I proposed.
You proposed? Really? And did he say yes right away?
Not right away.
No? Yeah, because it didn't look like he wanted to get married. He said love is love, and that's a commitment enough. And
Actually, I was a little rejected at first. Kind of got slapped down.
No, I told her, I told her that it's not right for the woman to ask the man. The man's supposed to get on one knee and do it all right and this and that.
Whatever.
Yeah. Exactly. Whatever. So then you had to turn around and ask her.
Yeah, it took me about 5 minutes and I turned around.
Really? That's sweet.
Then on September 18, 2004, Brittney and Kevin invited their family and friends over for what was supposed to be an engagement party. But it was actually a surprise wedding that Brittney and Kevin had fully planned out. On October 15th, Brittney announced on her website that she was taking some time off and she would let US Weekly overexpose other blondes for entertainment. At this point, she had had enough and was ready to just be a newlywed and start a family of her own. In April of 2005, just 1 year after meeting Kevin and marrying him, Brittney announced that they were expecting their first baby.
Is having a baby a good career move for Brittney? No. But is it a good personal growth move? Yeah, absolutely. Because Brittney has been controlled by her mom and her managers ever since she was like 9 years old. By having a baby, you can't take that away from her.
I think that's what we're seeing a lot of Brittney's life right now is the pendulum swing of having been controlled and contained so much by what other people have decided is right for her.
On September 14th, Sean Preston was born. For the first time in Brittney's adult life, she was living exactly as she wanted. Because she was taking a break, she wasn't being exploited in the media as often, and she was getting to spend time as a new mom in her new home in Malibu. Things were really looking up, but unfortunately, this would only last for a very short period of time, as the media started to exploit her child and paint her as a bad mother. The paparazzi would harass Brittney while she had her tiny baby with her. This could put Brittney and her baby in potentially dangerous situations, as back in 2006, we didn't have the paparazzi laws that we have today to protect celebrity children.
She says her greatest accomplishment is being a mom.
Motherhood's amazing.
But the one thing that gives her so much joy is, ironically, the very same thing that's made these past few months a very difficult time for Brittney Spears. In February, Brittney was photographed driving on the Pacific Coast Highway with her baby in her lap, in the front seat. It was a picture that became not only a punchline,
but in her defense, the baby had to sit on her lap because her husband Kevin was asleep in the child seat. So apparently,
but the source of serious debate all across the country.
I think it's very important that Brittney gets some baby safety training.
You were photographed, I guess, by the paparazzi again, pursuing you. And there was Sean on your lap in the car.
Yeah.
Take me through what happened there.
If right now we got in the car and went to Starbucks, you would see 20 photographers there. And I went to Starbucks and I see a bunch of photographers and I'm scared and I want to get out of the situation and my baby's crying. They're coming up on the sides of the car, which is a scary situation for me, when they're banging on the windows, and that's not something I want my baby to, so I get my baby out of the car and I go home. So, and I just feel like they're taking cheap shots.
But the fact of the matter is, while they pursue you, and we can argue for a long time, they shouldn't be doing it. And I would agree with you on that completely. They managed to snap a picture that didn't cast you in the best light.
Oh, of course, that is their job, and they do a very good job at it. And they've crossed the line so many times, and I think because I'm a sweet young girl, nothing ever gets really done about it,
When you were driving with Sean on your lap, did it clearly?
And it's seriously that driving incident. I did it with my dad. I'd sit in his lap and I'd drive. We're country. That's what, you know what I mean?
But what happened, though, it crossed from a paparazzi incident to next day, it's in the newspapers, and you've got all these legitimate people weighing in, saying, you know what?
That's dangerous. And she put her child at risk. You saw the questions that were being asked. Is Brittney a bad mom? It's not like, did Brittney record a bad song? Is Brittney wearing a bad outfit? Is Brittney in a bad marriage?
Yeah.
Is Brittney a bad mom? I mean,
That's America for you.
yeah, but as a mother, that has to hit pretty close to home.
Yeah, it makes you really strong.
Make you weep?
Oh, I've wept. Yeah, I've definitely wept just with the world, you know, how judgmental they are. You know what? I know I'm a good mom.
But just a few weeks after the baby in the lap incident, Brittney's son, while in the care of a nanny, fell out of a high chair and banged his head. You took him to the doctor?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So you walked into the hospital and said he bumped his head, fell out of a high chair.
And the doctors acted really funny with me. I know, it was really bizarre.
Well, how'd they act funny?
I don't want to say, but they did.
Suspicious?
Like I said, I don't want to say what they did or what they said. But it was bad. It was really, really bad.
Do you think, though, Brittney, that because of those questions that were asked after that picture on Pacific Coast Highway was shown in your lap, that the doctor in that emergency room or that hospital said, wait a second, maybe I have a bad mom on my hands?
I was just happy that my son was okay, and I wanted to get home and get out of there.
And then not long after that, you got a visit from the family services people.
Yeah, in which actually they felt really bad about it. They said, we don't even know why we're here.
So in other words, they came because it's their job to come. They have to investigate.
They didn't have to come. The doctor there made them come because I didn't bring my doctor there with me. So people a lot of times think because you're a celebrity that you're taken care of more. In some situations, people, you get it worse.
In another incident, Brittney and her baby were yet again being harassed by paparazzi, making it difficult for her to even get to her car. Brittney tripped, almost dropping Sean, but she caught herself. Later that day, that situation really shook her and she was spotted crying in a restaurant. But even the owner of the restaurant started taking pictures of her. And Brittney just tripping over her feet for just a moment and catching herself was used to paint her as this person who saves her coffee over her baby. There was no empathy for this new mother, and the media didn't care about the potentially dangerous situations they were putting her baby in. All Brittney had ever wanted was to be a mother, but she was watching her baby get exploited in a similar way that she had been. As she was going through all of this, the media didn't know it yet, but she was actually already pregnant with baby number 2. On top of the media being pregnant and adjusting to motherhood, Brittney's marriage to Kevin was on the rocks. At that time, fans and tabloids were not a fan of Kevin. They felt like he was always in it for the money and the fame. There was even a popular website started called divorcekevin.com, and there was even a petition asking Brittney to divorce Kevin that got 200,000 signatures. Then on September 12, 2006, Brittney gave birth to Jaden, her and Kevin's second son. After the birth of Jaden, her marriage went on a downward spiral. Kevin would leave Brittney, who was just a few weeks postpartum, to go party in Vegas, and that would be Brittney's final straw. In November of 2006, she would file for divorce, and this would be a major turning point in Brittney's life. Nothing about Brittney's childhood was typical. It's almost like she was specifically made just to become a star, pushed into this life from when she was a toddler. Then this life turned into one of her few escapes from her dad's alcoholism and her parents' screaming matches. But then, her only escape was exploited for everything it was worth by the media, her family, and people she trusted. A very betrayed Brittney Spears was heading into what would be the worst year of her life. And the world didn't know it yet, but we were going to be witnesses to one of the worst abuses of the media in modern day history. Pop culture was about to be changed forever.
I'm looking like a Barbie doll. I want it all. I'm filling up on champagne and with a bed. And bitches always talking to each other.
This video is sponsored by HelloFresh.
Entire system to me, like there are other reasons to get rid of the monarchy, obviously, but to me, it's just like it's wildly unjust to subject people to this level of public scrutiny and this absurd duty when like they have no choice in the
you're looking for trouble, come to place. If you're looking for trouble, look right in my face. It's Brittney, bitch. This lady on the radio. The paparazzi follows me wherever I go. I'm a celebrity. I'm a celebrity.
What do you think it'll take to get the paparazzi to leave you alone?
I don't know.
Is that one of your biggest wishes?
Yeah. It's okay. I would like for them to leave me alone.
Before we dive deep into 2007, we want to thank Philo for sponsoring this video and allowing us to devote so much time and effort to this project. This is by far our longest and most extensive episode of Deep Dive to date, and it means the world to have a company like them backing us up for real.
Philo is a live cable app that has all of your favorite channels on all of your favorite devices.
No more pesky 3-figure cable bills, and with unlimited DVR, you can watch what you want when you want it.
Click the link below to try Philo for 7 days free. Then it's only $14 for your first month and still only $20 after that. You can watch all the investigative shows your heart can handle, your favorite shows on the OWN network,
and yes, you can watch RuPaul's Drag Race.
So check it out
and click the link below. And seriously, thank you all so much for all the support on part 1 of our series.
We are both super passionate about this channel, and knowing that so many of you are enjoying our uploads means the world to us.
In the early 2000s, paparazzi were much more prevalent than they are today. With Facebook barely getting its roots in the ground and Instagram not being around at all, celebrities weren't sharing their every waking moment with us. So a celebrity's fans' only glimpse of their lifestyle was if they signed to a reality TV show or through the lens of a paparazzi. Now, in recent years, we haven't seen as many paparazzi, and that's partially due to a lot of paparazzi laws that were introduced in 2010, including the anti-paparazzi bill that prevented paparazzi from interfering with a celebrity's vehicle and personal life. And that's partially because of the way Brittney Spears was treated in 2007 and 2008. After her divorce with Kevin, she began drinking a lot more and started hanging out with the socialite crowd in Beverly Hills. And the paparazzi were on the prowl wherever she went. Whether she was at Starbucks or the club, paparazzi were capturing her every move. And Brittney's relationship with them was complicated to say the least.
Why wouldn't they let you in, Brittney? What do you think?
I don't really care. I mean, I can go to my house.
Yeah, Brittney. You tell him, Brittney. You tell him.
I'm not saying anything. I just want to tell them.
All right.
I love you guys.
We love you too, dude.
I didn't do the extra thing. All that, it's all over YouTube, man.
Party at my house.
All right, let's go. Come on, Brittney. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Can I get one beef off your appetite?
No, not that. I want number 2. No, I want number 3. I can't see, sir.
Hey, guys. Hey, move.
No, I want number 3.
Hi, Brittney. Number 3.
What kind of soda, Brittney?
What kind of what?
Soda.
Soda.
Coke. With Coke.
Large.
They hassled Brittney and harassed her no matter where she went and tried to catch her at her absolute worst moments. There was even a period of time in the early 2000s after Brittney Spears showed more than she wanted to in an incident with a paparazzi, where paparazzi would intentionally try and take low shots while she was getting out of cars to try and take a photo up her skirt. Brittney was even in a brief relationship with a paparazzi in 2008.
The intimate photos on a hotel balcony, kissing, holding hands, shopping for a pregnancy test. There's been speculation Adam courted Brittney to get good shots and sell the pictures, an accusation he denies.
No. Never.
It was already hard to live her life day to day being one of the biggest pop stars on earth, but companies like X17 and TMZ made it even harder as their tactics became even more intense.
Look at that. That's hard. Right there. You see it? On the street. You see?
Yes.
It's not about me, babies. No, so I can take a picture.
When you get your shot, nice.
Can't
You can't see, dog. She's gotta go. Let it go. Guys, move open. Give me space. Move. We're standing in front of the street, dog. Just
get home. You stupid move.
move. Hey, guys, come on, guys. 1 second.
I can join in here. Brittney, what are you looking for? Your what? Your memory card? Can someone find her memory card?
You sure it's not in there?
Brittney. Oh, you found it, Brittney. There you go. Look out, guys. Look out, guys.
You're welcome, Brittney.
You like us again, Brittney? Thank you, Brittney.
I just don't like it when you get in my way of my pictures.
Okay. Sorry about that, Brittney.
Take one
I'm
right
a
now.
person just like you.
Why don't you take one right now?
Can you take a picture of us, Brittney?
Take care.
Take care. Is everything good, Brittney?
That work.
Look out, guys. Restroom's over here, Brittney. You looking for the restroom?
Come on, guys.
I tell you, they should have harassed you like that, Britney Spears.
As if all of Brittney's privacy being removed wasn't enough, tragedy struck in early 2007 when Brittney's aunt, Sandra, who she was very close to, passed away at the age of 59. And just a few weeks later, Brittney's ex-boyfriend Isaac Cohen exploited Brittney Spears by sharing extremely intimate details of Brittney being insecure during intercourse. Brittney had no privacy. Every square inch of her body and every second of her life was publicly broadcast and exploited for as much money as possible. She'd go to get vitamins and 40 men would block her exit and blind her with flashes while asking her super invasive questions. Then those paparazzi would sell the photos and get extremely high prices for them from tabloids and news organizations like E! And OK Magazine. One of the most notorious paparazzi, Mel Boo's dad, was quoted saying, "If I get a picture of Brittney and her baby, I'll be able to buy a house in those hills." At this point, Brittney had no one she could trust. After people she had been intimate and vulnerable with had betrayed her, she was extremely paranoid and completely alone, all during one of the hardest times of her life. As Brittney was currently dealing with paparazzi stalking her, tabloids and her ex-boyfriend exploiting her, all amidst a very public custody battle for her children. And what happened next was unfortunately inevitable.
You look nice, Brittney. Where are you going? Why are you crying, Brittney?
You okay, Brittney?
Are you okay, Brittney?
You should go home, Brittney.
Do you need to talk to someone, Brittney?
Why are you crying, Brittney?
I'm sitting for once and having a nice time with my dog.
That's it?
So with nowhere to turn and the paparazzi becoming increasingly more invasive, things took an extremely dark turn. All eyes were on Brittney, and she became much more lethargic in public. As Brittney gets closer to her breaking point, Felicia Culotta, Brittney's assistant of nearly a decade, quit working for Brittney and expressed her concern for her close friends, saying, "I loved being with Brittney for the past 10 years. I cherish all the incredible opportunities that came my way through my job with Brittney. And I am crushed, saddened, heartsick by the way her life is unfolding. We are doing everything in our power to get help for Brittney and all of our power to not pad the bottom. So when she does indeed hit rock bottom, she'll stand up and walk away from this whole fiasco, a new, confident, changed, career-driven Brittney like we all love. There's just so much you can do to help a person. I don't dare want to be an enabler, and I cannot love her enough for the both of us. I cannot convince her in any way to love herself. All I can do is be a friend, someone that loved her for many years unconditionally, and to pray that what I have decided is the most and best I can do for my friend. I cannot save her from herself, nor can I commit her to any type of treatment program against her wishes and will. I'm throwing my hands up and realizing that I am helpless." And on February 15th, 2007, Brittney checked herself into the rehab facility Crossroads Center in Antigua, but she checked out 24 hours later and was spotted flying back to Los Angeles. And just 2 days later, Brittney Spears' public spiral began.
Easy, easy. Back all the way up, back. Come on, guys, back up, back up. Please, back up, please. Back up, please. What's wrong, Brittney? What do you think? How about that he had his new close? It's true about that he had it, Brittney.
I love you, Brittney. All these guys are jackasses.
So now we're gonna beat your ass, homie.
It started with Brittney being spotted at Esther's hair cutting studio. The studio was closed, but they opened it just for Brittney.
Hey, good for you.
He's a bodyguard outfit.
Okay.
Let's go. 7200 somebody.
Brittney told the owner she wanted to have her head shaved, but the owner, Esther Tignazzi, refused, and instead gave Brittney the tools to do it herself. According to Access Hollywood, as Brittney held the tool up to her head, she said, "Mom's gonna kill me," and began shortening her hair with scissors before buzzing it off with electric shears.
They asked why she wanted to shave her head, and she said, "I don't want anyone touching me. I'm tired of everybody touching me."
But, you know, she never said anything about being sick and tired of people touching her, and that's why she was doing it. I think maybe the braids were on too tight. She had a lot of extensions in her hair. So she shaved off the whole thing all by herself, and all I basically did was go in there and even it out for her. When we were done, she just walked out the back door, and of course the paparazzi were all over the place.
Get in the back, Ben.
Sorry.
Brittney!
Why she's gonna drive?
The paparazzi had already been following Brittney when she escaped to the hair salon, so there were tons of them stationed outside of the hair studio, and they captured every second of it. Hollywood sweetheart Brittney Spears had just shaven her head in front of hundreds of paparazzi, and this was only the beginning.
Sometimes it can get kind of lonely. You're guarded, you know? You have to be that way. Otherwise, you get taken advantage of and get in situations like I did the past year. I have totally lost my way. I lost focus. I lost myself. I had that type of nature within me that wanted to rebel out. I never wanted to become one of those prisoner people. I've always wanted to feel free, get in my car and go and not let people make me feel like I had to stay at home.
When you look back at the whole shaving of the head thing and all the rest of it, what provoked you to do that?
Like, I was going through so much artificial stuff with my kids and my Kevin and all that stuff at the time, and he just left me, and I was devastated, you know? And people thought that it was me, like, going crazy and stuff like that, but people shave their heads all the time, you know? But I mean, I was going through a lot, but it was just kind of like me just feeling a form of a little bit of rebellion or feeling free or, you know, shedding stuff that had happened, you know?
Why did you not tell anyone that's what you were doing?
Huh?
Why did you not tell anyone that's what you were doing?
I didn't think it was anyone's business, really.
Brittney left the salon completely bald and led paparazzi to a Sherman Oaks tattoo parlor called Body and Soul.
It was a pretty slow night, just like every other. And I remember hearing this insane roaring sound outside that was coming from seeming far away. And it got closer and closer. And I didn't know what it was. I wasn't sure what was happening. If there was a riot outside, and then the flashes came. The door opened slowly, and a hooded figure walked in the door. I still didn't know who it was, what was happening. It happened so quickly. And then I realized it was Brittney Spears. The first tattoo that she got was lips that someone else's girlfriend had done. And the other one was a small cross.
Now, this started an even more intensive media frenzy, nothing like we had seen before.
Hi, Brittney. Hi, you, Brittney. How you like your hair, Brittney?
I tell you.
And the tabloids had a heyday. Dozens of headlines calling Brittney crazy and making fun of her popped up everywhere.
As erratic as Brittney Spears' behavior has been lately, this really, I think, caught everyone off guard. Kelly Clarkson was at the Daytona 500 this weekend. This is her reaction as she learns the shocking news.
Kelly, Brittney Spears has shaved her head.
Okay, are y'all kidding? Because somebody just told me that out there, and I think that's a joke.
Is that a style that you would ever consider for yourself?
She did not shave her
did.
head. Are you for real?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Wow, a stunned and speechless Kelly Clarkson.
The owner of the salon even sold her hair and began offering the Brittney buzz cut. Brittney explained that this was simply an act of rebellion. She had been under the control of her parents, a record label, and under the microscope of the tabloids for her entire life, and she just wanted to be free. However, freedom was not what Brittney obtained on February 17th. Following the night's events, Brittney was admitted to Sinai Medical Center. Then for 2 days, Brittney went silent. But the media didn't. They continued to ruthlessly rip Brittney apart. Tabloids like The Sun and The Inquirer having some of the most tasteless headlines of them all. And merely 2 days after shaving her head, Brittney is briefly seen in a short blonde wig partying at the Roxy Club. But just 24 hours later, Brittney has checked herself back into rehab at Promises Residential Treatment Center in Malibu. Rehab is supposed to be a private time where people suffering from addiction can recover and be attended to properly. It is more than just a medical recoup. It is also heavily centered around mental health and privacy. However, Brittney wasn't even allowed that basic human right, as the paparazzi somehow obtained a photo of her on the private premises. Brittney is past rock bottom at this point, with nowhere to turn and no one she can trust. She was allegedly upset at how far the paparazzi had gone, yet again. And she left the rehab facility only to head straight to the law office of Tarlow and Burke. Burke had previously represented Reese Witherspoon in a case against the paparazzi, which may be why Brittney was there. Around this time, we begin to see a narrative form amongst those who are supposedly looking after Brittney's best interests. Her father spoke to Fox saying Brittney is a sick little girl who they're just trying to take care of. The same day Brittney went to the law office, Kevin Federline scheduled an emergency custody hearing for February 22nd. Brittney caught wind of this and allegedly wanted to talk it out with Kevin. She headed out to San Fernando Valley where Kevin lived to discuss this with him. However, as she was heading towards Kevin's house, the paparazzi were tipped off on where she was, and they immediately began following and harassing her. Brittney needed to speak to Kevin in private as it was concerning her children, but she couldn't even do that without the paparazzi targeting her, selling the photos, and exploiting her for millions. Brittney had had enough.
Please, guys. No, guys, please, guys, don't do this. No.
That's the video. Rehab. Sorry.
Oh wow, she did that too?
After this incident, Brittney allegedly spoke with Kevin, her mom, and Larry Rudolph, her manager, where they told her she needed to complete an entire treatment at Promise's rehab facility. If not, Kevin would take full custody of the kids. Brittney agreed to go back to rehab, and the emergency custody hearing was then canceled. On February 27th, just 6 days after Brittney had her meeting with Kevin, there was a leak from Promise's rehab facility, alleging that Brittney was struggling with postpartum depression and feeling like she's lost total control. This made headlines across the globe. Brittney's personal life was once again blasted for the public to see, and they were not kind. However, on March 21st, 1 month after her meeting with Kevin, Brittney completed the rehab program at Promise's rehab facility. No matter what Brittney did, she couldn't trust the people around her. In her darkest hour, no one was there to help console her. As she is battling for the right to be a mother, all the public does is mock and degrade her. No matter what Brittney did, no matter what steps she took towards a healthier life, the media exploited her and drained her name for every penny that it was worth. And she had just had enough.
But like, I just really like want to talk and just say like how nice our world is. Like, it is so nice. Like, I'm gonna cry right now because like our world is so nice. No, it really is, because like, oh my god, like the other day I saw like this magazine and I looked at it and it said like I was pregnant, and like I went up to my mom and I was like, oh my god, like my mom knew, like she was right. Like, always believe everything you read, everybody. Like, because I really am pregnant. And then like I went to this person and they saw it like on the USA Today, like that, you know, like I was drinking a lot, and it was so true. It was so true. And then like it was just so weird because like then after that, like everybody, like, you know, just always believe what you read, because like in all my management, they totally knew what they were doing when they sent me to rehab. Like totally. Like they totally knew what they were doing. Like, it's just so weird how great and nice our world is. And like after this, nobody's gonna talk about this because our world is so nice. So that's all I wanted to say. So okay.
In April of 2007, Brittney fired her longtime manager, Larry Rudolph, alleging that he forced her into rehab. However, Brittney's father, Jamie Spears, would come to Larry Rudolph's defense, stating that if Brittney loses her children, it is no fault but her own. He went from saying she's a sick little girl who needs help to just 3 months later defending Larry Rudolph very publicly against his own daughter. Brittney replied saying that she was praying for her father as they have never had a good relationship. Around this time, Brittney began isolating herself from friends and family, not knowing who she could trust. This is the time period that she met Sam Lutfi at a club, and they were instantaneously best friends. With Brittney firing her management team and no longer trusting her family, she had to create her own support bubble. Sam and Allie, who was her cousin and assistant, would be just that for Brittney. And for the rest of the year, the three of them would be inseparable.
No, just kidding. Brittney, do you want us to sing a birthday song for you?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brittney. Happy birthday to you.
In May of 2007, Brittney surprised all of her fans by doing a set of live shows at the House of Blues in a few major cities. The media would rip these performances to shreds and would continue to speculate every detail about Brittney's mental health. She could not catch a break from the media. Brittney felt she needed to humanize herself in an open letter to her fans. Brittney opened up in this letter like she hadn't done before about what was going on with her this year. She started off talking about the tabloids, saying, "I used to be angry at the tabloids for printing horrible things about me, but now I try to just be numb to what I see." She went on to discuss her experience at rehab, and this paragraph's really important because she does mention her manager, Larry Rudolph, saying, "I had a manager from a long time ago come in and try to direct me and my life after I got my divorce. I was so overwhelmed, I think that I was in a little shock too." In the next paragraph, Brittney talks about being financially taken advantage of, saying, "This letter is not to place blame on anyone, although I do see the world with a completely different set of eyes now. Being in that vulnerable state and taken to dinners and parties with friends and finding out later you paid for everything was a huge learning lesson for me." Brittney continued to open up, saying, "I feel like some of the people in my life made more of some issues than was necessary. I also feel like they knew I was beginning to use my brain for a change and cut some ties, so they wanted to be in more control of my life than me." Now here's what's interesting about this letter. If you look it up on major media sites such as People, they cut out every part where Brittney talks about the media's portrayal of her, people trying to control her and use her. And you have to click to expand the article to actually see the unedited letter. This is just another example of the narrative being manipulated and Brittney's obvious warnings about her situation being hidden and ignored. Exactly 1 month after the letter was published, Brittney was spotted delivering another letter to her mother. Allegedly, this letter contained orders telling Lynn Spears to stay away from Brittney's children.
Hey, how you doing? Why is it that Brittney served you?
A love letter.
A love letter? What did the love letter say?
You call this a serving, you know?
Yeah. Why are the rumors then? Why are they saying? You know, like, there's
It's always rumors.
There's always rumors, huh?
It's always rumors of
Well,
rumors.
let's clear them up. I mean,
She did not serve me.
she did not serve you.
She did not.
So how's your mom? You think everything's gonna be okay with her?
I'm praying for her right now.
Are
She
you?
gets all the help she needs.
Do you think she needs to go to rehab?
I don't know.
Brittney, are you going to try and make up with her?
You know what? In time, who knows what'll happen?
Really? Are you going to go to
help her out?
Huh?
Are you going to go to Kenwood?
What's where I'm from?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it here.
Brittney, can I give you this?
I love you guys.
Can I give you this?
Love you too, Brittney. Thank you.
It's important to note that at this time, Lynn was allegedly shopping around a tell-all on Brittney and was working with Brittney's fired manager, Larry Rudolph, someone who Brittney strongly felt like was untrustworthy. There was a lot happening in July of 2007, more than the media and public knew at the time, and something we're going to dive into later. Brittney was making headlines yet again when she sent a tongue-in-cheek handwritten apology to X17. "Dear X17, I want to apologize for the past incident with the umbrella. I was preparing a character for a possible movie role where the husband doesn't play his part, so they swap places. Unfortunately, I didn't get the part. I'm sorry I got all carried away with my role. Brittney." Also, this month, her assistant set up a tell-all with OK Magazine to dispel rumors and talk openly about reaching her breaking point. However, given everything Brittney was going through publicly and behind closed doors, she just was not ready for this kind of interview. And it was a total disaster. She was blasted for eating fried chicken and wiping the grease on a loaner designer dress and walking out before they could get any usable photos. As July came to a close, Brittney's divorce to Kevin Federline would become finalized. They would, however, go on to have a very public custody battle in the months to follow. During this time, Brittney also hired Jeff Quantinitz as her new manager, and things were looking much more positive for her life. The next few months, while they would be brutal, would have several pop culture defining moments and would change Brittney's career forever.
Although she hit a parked car trying to escape paparazzi and got charged with a hit and run, August held a lot of positive news for Brittney as well, as rumors of a surprise VMA performance were swirling. This was major. This would be the first televised award show performance since Brittney shaved her head, and Jeff Quantinett's first major project managing Britney Spears. There was a lot riding on this one performance, and with Brittney in a very public custody battle, she wasn't in the best headspace to be doing something this intensive at the time. The media began labeling this as Brittney's big comeback, and when the night of the
blonde hair who sang in Dip Hop Records, and now it's this girl with blonde hair who sang in Dip Hop Records, that's who kids got me. You know what I mean? Like, we all know her story, and it's at times unfortunate, but at the same time, it's interesting.
When it came time for Brittney to go on stage, she performed Give Me More, the first single off her new album, and Brittney's fans were elated that she was back, but she unsurprisingly drew a lot of criticism as well, with people unfairly body-shaming her and making fun of her for months after the performance. Brittney was suddenly the laughingstock of the music industry.
It's not really fat at all, but compared to the other girls, she looks big. She looks like the fat Elvis, walking around the stage, doing things she used to do, but doing it really poorly.
This performance was particularly painful for Britney Spears because she had really set herself up for it. She wanted to open the MTV Awards. She wanted to make a splash. She wanted to show everyone that she could do it. And this has just made things worse for Brittney. We actually did a flash poll on usmagazine.com immediately afterward asking, is Brittney back? And 81% said no. It was, as everyone's talking about, it was stiff, it was flat. She needed about 100 hours more practice before this thing was ready for prime time, let alone to open the MTV Video Music Awards.
Right, and forget, appearance, because people have made comments about her not being in peak shape. She looked downright out of it. I mean, this is somebody who perhaps you may have questioned whether or not she had the best voice in the world. She was known for being an entertainer and for being able to dance, and she's literally being directed and shuffled around the stage.
Brittney seemed nervous, the MTV Music Awards, and at times so out of it that you wondered if she knew where she was or if she knew the words to her own song. My take. How did the people around her allow this to happen last night? She has a manager, a record label, a lot to lose. Why didn't someone say, hey, you're not ready to perform?
What did she pay these people to do? Her eyes were open, her lips were moving, she remained conscious the entire time. It was the greatest impression of an office worker embarrassing themselves at a holiday party I have ever seen. 5 stars, Brittney. Bravo, bravo. In Chris Angel's original piece, it involved a lot of mirrors, and when Brittney was rehearsing it, she kept stopping the song and saying, "Who hired the fat girl?"
Extra claimed that she was seen texting somebody immediately after her performances. Any guesses on the nature of the text, Joel, and the recipient of the text?
Well, I'm not sure, but I think we can rule out dietitian, personal trainer, psychologist, clothing stylist, makeup artist, nanny. I can keep going. Actual musician, songwriter. Stop me at any time. Personal bleacher.
Lingerie wrangler.
I think there was so much hype about her big comeback at the VMAs that no one wanted to let her back out. It's just so sad that no one said get in front of a mirror and practice or learn your lyrics and learn your dance moves. I love her, and I was devastated.
AP said she looked bleary and unprepared, which, is me most nights. USA Today called it truly forgettable. The always unkind New York Post jiggled like Jell-O, and good old TMZ.com headlined with R.I.P. Britney's career 1998-2007.
Perez Hilton, one of the most prominent gossip bloggers and a large critic of Britney Spears at the time, wrote a scalding open letter saying, "Dear Britney, we are insulted, offended, and disgusted by your performance at the VMAs. Are you f***ing serious? What you did was disrespectful to your few remaining fans, and it was disrespectful to MTV. You didn't even try. You should have just canceled, bitch. Your performance was beyond pathetic. The old Britney Spears, who was at one point, a long time ago, truly great, would be embarrassed by your lack of professionalism and utterly shittiest appearance at the VMAs. Where was Chris Angel? Where was the magic? And by magic, we don't mean any tricks or illusions. You seemed dead on stage. You have lost that spark and shine that used to ooze out of you. We all know you lip sync, but you couldn't even do that well at the VMAs. And you barely danced. You couldn't even get good hair extensions. You have no one to blame for your failure but you. There was no way you were going to be good. You were out partying every night before the VMAs for 3 days in a row until almost sunrise. You were probably still drunk or high during your performance. You almost tripped a few times, you f***ing mess. No bullshit excuse that you or your camp will come up with can make up for how pathetic your performance was. A true professional will deliver no matter what. Let's repeat that. It's worth repeating. A true professional will deliver no matter what. What you did was inexcusable. This performance went down as one of the most iconic moments in the Video Music Awards history, and it became infamous. Britney's fans also began to come out of the woodwork and defend Britney from the ruthless attacks by the media. And this is where we get one of the most viral videos of the early 2000s.
Do we really want to see a 25-year-old woman leave behind 2 children and die? Have we learned nothing from Anna Nicole Smith?
Not breathing and she's not responsive.
Just 39 years old. I know it's hard to see Britney Spears as a human being, but trust me, she is. She's a person. She's like you or I. And I don't know about you, but I know that I would be pretty shaken up right now. Whatever the case of her, whatever the cause of her performance was, I don't care. All I care about is Britney's well-being. And Britney, all I want is for you to get well. That's all I want. The world needs to know that Britney still has her fans. Britney needs to know that she still has her fans.
And how dare anyone out there make fun of Britney?
We're not going to pass him a chance to work with Ginger Fox. She's a huge star.
She was, so she hopped on the cyclotron and crashed in the has-been island. Ginger's manager said that she's gotten some, mental health. And now she's ready to make a big comeback. She looks okay from a distance. She's marching around the stage like an idiot. Did she shave into her arms? I don't think she shaved into her arms. Has anybody seen my baby?
Hi, everybody. I may have lost a foot to diabetes, but I'm still sexy, y'all. Now I'm gonna dance for you.
Excuse me, Mrs. Spears, but your kids are here and they brought you a squirrel.
My boys? Really? Send them in. It's okay. My kids are here. I feel better now. We get it, guys. I told you that would work. Yeah, all right. All right.
You mean it was just a joke? My kids hiding you?
I did. That's your cracker did.
I got a better idea.
You do?
Yeah.
No!
Give me a treat, bitch.
I sort of see you. I think I took too many Xanax.
That's Brittney, bitch. And so you felt like nothing and just expect me to be free.
After all she's been through, she lost her aunt.
And these are for you, Ainsley.
She went through a divorce. She had 2 kids. Her husband turned out to be a user, a cheater, and now she's going through a custody battle. Perez Hilton talked about professionalism and said if Britney was a professional, she would have pulled it off no matter what. Speaking of professionalism, when is it professional to publicly bash someone who's going through a hard time? Leave Britney alone! Please.
Even Chris Crocker was ridiculed for defending Britney Spears and became a celebrity on their own. It was so popular to dislike Britney Spears at the time that her supporters were being ridiculed as well for just standing up for her, even though they were on the right side of history. Only 11 days after Britney shocked the world with Give Me More, her manager Jeff dropped her, saying the current circumstances prevented him from doing his job. And nearly a few weeks later, the court ruled that Britney could only have monitored visits with her kids, but she appealed and was able to get 1 night a week. When Britney left custody court, the paparazzi caused yet another car accident. A sheriff was holding back the paparazzi when Britney accidentally ran over her foot, trying to get away. And unfortunately, just a few weeks later, the court ruled that Britney could no longer drive her kids around due to the dangers of the paparazzi. They had taken everything from her privacy, her serenity, and now the right to drive her children. This was a really big deal to Britney, as being a mother was a huge part of her identity. She just wanted to raise her children in peace. The entertainment industry had stripped her of everything and continued to ruthlessly manipulate and abuse Britney every chance they got. And this all came to a head in the fall, when Britney was gearing up to release the most influential and experimental album of her career.
How's your new album, Brittney? I heard it's gonna be a hit. Take it funny. Come on.
In July of 2006, Brittney began work on one of her most unique and successful projects. It would be a new album with a completely different sound. She began production of Blackout by recording Radar the day after she filed for divorce from Kevin Federline, and recorded the rest of the album amongst some of her darkest moments.
You know, it was also a dark period in her life, but what was it like being in the studio with Britney Spears?
You know, it was awesome in the beginning, and she was the sweetest, most happiest thing. And so it was difficult to see her go through the transition because we were there through the transition and things got a little bit rushed.
Brittney, your single's doing incredibly well. Are you happy? Yeah.
You know it's number one, right? Number one.
Yeah.
After Gimme More hit #1, they moved the release up 2 weeks. But this album had one of the most non-traditional press runs ever.
Because it'd be real funny if she were like, just kidding.
Well, it'd be funny up until kid number 2.
Because, I mean, think about it. She's done no press for her album, which I love. But yeah, I do. But she's done no press. She's getting so much press off of all this other stuff.
Brittney only did one interview about the album with Ryan Seacrest.
Today, the album's been out for a day or so. What will you do for the rest of the week? Do you have to do appearances? Will you promote the album? What are you going to be doing?
This is it.
This is it. This is the promotion.
You promoted on air with Ryan
We don't
Seacrest.
need to promote anymore.
All right, so well then let's cover all of our bases this morning. What a piece of me is it's kind of about your image in the media and the paparazzi swarming and everyone always on your case. What was the message you wanted to convey with that song?
Just, like wherever you go and stuff like that, there's a lot of people who want to ask questions and they just, sometimes you don't know their intentions and stuff like that. So it's just kind of a cute way of putting it out there, you want a piece of me and in a cool, cute, clever way. So it's a cute song. I like it.
On the day Blackout was released, Court Commissioner Scott Gordon ruled that Brittney can visit her sons 3 times a week with a monitor and would need to submit to drug and alcohol testing. As Brittney's custody battle had been so public, Ryan Seacrest saw the opportunity to get the exclusive. But as he continued to press Brittney about her children, the interview took, an awkward turn.
Well, you've obviously been aware of the conversation about your kids and obviously all of the things that you've been doing to, go to court. You have the court dates, you've had the report to the parenting coaches and everything that's been going on and covered. How do you respond to those who criticize you as a mom?
Like I said, people say what they want and, do what they do. And it's sad, how cruel our world can be. But at the end of the day, like I said, you just got to know in your heart that, you're doing the best that you can. And, that's basically it.
And do you feel like you're doing everything you can for your kids?
What?
Do you feel like you're doing everything you can for your kids?
Oh, God, yeah.
And how often will you see them?
We don't, that's like all in the court, like stuff like that. My lawyers know all that stuff.
Let's talk about fun stuff.
Okay, Sam, what do you want to talk
We're
about?
playing.
All right, so we're live. It's 9:23 right now. Britney Spears' house is linked up live here. This is Allie, her friend Sam, and Brittney. Hey, Allie, ask Brittney what she wants to say to her fans because a lot of them are listening right now that have bought this album.
You know what? She just ran into the other room. I know she just wanted to say thanks to them, and hold on. She really appreciates everything and them supporting her through everything.
She would have said herself. Yeah, she'd be fun.
Oh, she's in the shower. Do you want to try us back in a little while?
Yeah, we'll call you back because I think you should let her say something to her fans. That'd be great.
Absolutely. Okay, cool. Thanks so much, Ryan.
Call you in 10.
But even with no promotion and no press runs, Blackout received some of the best reviews from critics in her career. It may have been one of her darkest years, but she made an album that was ahead of its time, changing pop music yet again. And with entire songs dedicated to the media like Piece of Me, the album is a time capsule for the year 2007. 2007 was Britney's last year as a free woman, and it was full of nothing but struggle, heartache, and abuse at the hands of the media. Britney Spears had been so controlled for the first 25 years of her life that reaching her breaking point was inevitable. And over a decade later, this time period is still affecting almost every aspect of her life. To quote Perez Hilton, who ruthlessly ripped her to shreds, "Looking back now, it really does seem like Britney is lucky to still be alive." Britney had thought she had hit rock bottom, but little did she know the fears she expressed in May about people trying to take control of her life would come true. In the past few years, we have learned even more about why Britney isolated herself and was so paranoid about the people she thought she could trust. In an alleged leaked email from July of 2007, we see Britney contacting her lawyer, Gary Stifelman, stating a woman named Lou Taylor had been stalking her. Britney was concerned as Lou Taylor had alleged plans to visit her drunk father in Kentwood, Louisiana. Britney stated, "I don't care about him, but she could easily find my mother and hurt her."
I had there were people in my life that were just bad people. You do something wrong and you learn from it, and you learn that it's like I'm having to pay for it for a really long time. If I wasn't under the shapes that I'm under right now, I feel so liberated and feel like myself.
Up into my pink limo.
All right, we got through all that. There's some more videos on that we'll watch later. I'm going to end this for now. It's been 2 hours. Thanks for joining me, y'all. Tomorrow I'll be back sometime during the day like I always do. Daytimes are best for me. yeah, she became a victim of the industry. It's really sad. And I feel like she's in danger now. You can, it's sad. But thank you all, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.